Steve Forbes, chairman and editor-in-chief of Forbes Media. Sandra Smith, co-anchor of America Reports. And Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor.
I'm just taking notes over here.
Don't you think that was a good one?
He should make tariffs great again, right? I mean, but maybe he should have talked tariffs last night. Maybe he should have spoken in plain English what his plan is, because he's not convinced a lot
What's
of
your
folks.
best tariff joke?
We're working on it.
He could have probably.
It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. But bear in mind, I'm going to play a sound in a minute. But bear in mind, the Bloomberg poll, ironically, because it was the Bloomberg editor who gave him a hard time in Chicago, but the Bloomberg poll of swing states plus 24 on tariffs. All right? So the country is in a bit of an uproar about this. We shouldn't be ripped off. Now, we'll get back into some meat and potatoes on this in a second. First, here's, go back to the Al Smith dinner. Here's Mr. Trump on Harris skipping the dinner. Take a listen.
But if you really wanted Vice President Harris to accept your invitation, I guess you should have told her the funds were going to bail out the looters and rioters in Minneapolis, and she would have been here, guaranteed she would have been here. Guaranteed.
I loved it. Where's the Gretchen Whitmer one? Is that not in here? Oh, it's the next one. All right, we're going to play the next one now. Let's play the Gretchen Whitmer.
Roll it.
We're flexible. Here, roll tape. Take a listen.
All polls are indicating I'm leading big with the Catholic vote, as I should be, But I don't think Kamala has given up yet. She hasn't. Instead of attending tonight, she's in Michigan receiving communion from Gretchen Whitmer. That's not a pretty sight.
All right. That was tough stuff. It was kind of savage. Charlie Hurt, it was savage, but I got to tell you, it got one of the best laugh lines. This was not a big pro-Trump crowd. I mean, probably maybe a third were for Trump. I was there in the bullpen, in the audience, and so forth. But what'd you make of it? He had some pretty good zingers. Not every one of them. He himself said he didn't like some of the jokes.
And he also said that he wasn't going to be self-effacing because he's endured too many shots from other people, right, which was good. No, it was savage. But then again, so was her refusal to show up. And then to instead send that insulting video was not funny. But I don't think there's any way of looking at that video as anything other than an insulting video that was an attack on Catholics and mocking them and making fun of them. And, you know, can you imagine if this were a different group of people and Donald Trump refused to show up and then instead sent a video mocking them, making fun of them? The media would be absolutely appalled by it. But, of course, she gets a pass because she always gets a pass.
I had a number of non-Trumpers, I mean, Wall Street guys that I've known for years, who were just furious at her video and of course, referring back to the Gretchen Whitmer thing was by itself an insult to the Catholic faith and to the Christian faith. And
all of it fits into the sort of larger thing that I feel like we're seeing right now, where there seems to be a real desperation on the part of the Harris campaign.
Well, that's it. No, you put your finger on it. Sandra, from the Bret Baier interview to the video, I mean, I'm trying to connect the dots. Thank you, Charlie. He saw it. You know, she now clearly shows us she does not want to. I mean, Bret Baier is a great newsman. He didn't ask extreme questions. He didn't ask so-called tough anti-Harris questions. He asked the obvious, important questions on the border, for example, when it started and so forth, on the economy. She wouldn't answer them and instead always tried to attack Donald Trump.
Because they see that as their pathway to victory. Look, it was obviously a fantastic interview, and I think it gave an opportunity for voters to learn a lot more about her. Similar to last night, there was a missed opportunity for voters to learn that she can step up in front of a different crowd and have a camaraderie with other leaders. There was a lot of very influential people in the room, and you know, maybe show a lighter side. It could have been helpful. Two things. To me, as a Catholic, it almost looked like she got a school assignment. She and her campaign were given an assignment like, oh, it's Catholic folks. Okay, what do you think of Molly Shannon, Saturday Night Live, Catholic schoolgirl? Like, that's what came to mind. That was incredibly, you know, I'll let people at home decide what they thought of that. The New York Times
it was
write-up.
distasteful.
I have to thank your producers for sending this to me because I didn't see it till I sat down just now with Charlie. The New York Times criticized Trump's remarks, his prepared remarks, stumbling at times through pointed political jokes, bitter grievances, crude, at times profane personal attacks. This is their review of Kamala Harris. The vice president's absence robbed the event of some of its electricity. Oh.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
That's absolutely wonderful. Steve Forbes, did you see it? Were you at the event last night? Yes. Okay, so you were there. I didn't see it, but you were there.
He's a nice guy.
I thought Trump was at the top of his game. Look, he's reading these jokes. They're written for him. He acknowledged that. He said, I don't even like some of these jokes, which by itself got a pretty good self-effacing laugh. But what did you think about the story?
Well, he showed self-confidence, and all of us came away from that dinner hearing him with our favorites. One of my favorites was when he turned to Chuck Schumer and said, if Kamala Harris loses, you can still have you can still be the first female vice president because your party is so woke. Just looking at
Sandra's not laughing at that. I don't know why.
Honestly, I thought you were going to talk about the moment where, off camera, they chatted.
Oh.
And that's what that night is all about.
But this was much more fun, really.
Sorry.
And the other one about the hidden Trump voters, he said, I know who they are, all four of them. They're the Biden family.
That was good. That was good.
I mean, it's pretty good, New York Times notwithstanding. All right, let me play one more sound. We're not done with this yet,
Okay.
but here's some sound. This is Elon Musk. Nothing to do with the Al Smith dinner last night, but we're putting in something for everybody. We have such a fabulous panel. So here's Elon Musk. Why Elon Musk? Just in general principles. He's the smartest guy on the planet. Take a listen, please.
We have 428 agencies. America is being smothered by overregulation. It's like I call it slow strangulation by overregulation. The federal government is spending America into bankruptcy, which is crazy. It's sort of, and that's really what leads to inflation. Is that when the government spends more than it brings in, that's what causes inflation.
All right, Steve Forbes, come back to you. Slow strangulation because of overregulation. This is a huge theme of yours that you've been saying for 3 years, modern socialism through the regulatory state. And here you have Elon Musk, who is in a class by himself, all right? I think most people would agree he's a genius, and he's a phenomenal businessman. And here he is, hook, line, and sinker for Donald Trump. This is one of the campaign stops. I believe it was in Pennsylvania. He's going to be very effective, and he's got a great message about shrinking the government and regulations and stopping inflation. What do you think?
Well, I think he recognizes that the only reason he could prosper and do better than NASA, do better than the Russians, do better than the Chinese in rocketry is because you have a free economy. And he saw it first in California, crushing Tesla out there with rules and regulations. He couldn't operate the plants the way he wanted, so he moved to Texas, more of a free state. And so I think he realizes he's not going to be able to, future Elon Musk won't be able to thrive in the United States if Kamala Harris and these modern socialists have their way with excessive regulation, excessive taxation. Regulation is a form of taxation. And she's ready to go with more regulations, banning the internal combustion engine and the like. And they'll wreck Elon Musk's business. They'll have NASA take over of SpaceX and the like. They'll crush it. We'll be a nothing nation, and that means bad guys in the world are going to be thriving, and freedom lovers are going to be in chains.
You know, Sandra, on this point, and I have to agree with Steve Forbes, we've been talking about this for a long time, but Elon Musk adds a new dimension to it. Elon Musk adds new beef to the Trump campaign. It gives it strength, it gives it breadth, it gives it credibility on government spending and government regulation. Now, Trump had some of that, but this is like a major booster rocket sending him into space. This changes a lot of things. He's going to be campaigning for the next 2 weeks plus.
Yeah, I like Elon Musk for the same reason I like Charlie Hurt. Unpredictable, never know what he's going to say. No, I think he's really good at getting up on the stage and kind of like surprising people, and I think that he reaches a different audience, like one that I have said many times to you, Larry. The Republicans need to articulate their thinking. On tariffs, I think they're struggling with the messaging. You are absolutely the
I'm the great exception.
But perhaps he can reach a different audience with, Elon Musk.
No,
he's a rock star. Let's be clear.
It adds, but among other things, it adds a note of glamour to the campaign. Now, Elon Musk is not your typical glamour. He's not Hollywood glamour. But he's intellectual heft. He's space. He's electric cars. He's become strongly American. He's moved to Texas to avoid the regulatory state of California. He's a lot of things that I think give a wake-up call to people. I say, wait a minute, Elon Musk? I don't know him. He's for Trump? I didn't know that.
He was a folk hero on the left about 5 minutes ago.
I know.
Until he got upset about the lack of free speech on the left, and then the left turned, or Democrats turned on him. I don't think the left, I think true liberals still love what he does, and they still love his products. But I do think it's also really comical. You know, we're in the middle of a campaign when suddenly Kamala Harris claims to care about the economy, and after 3 years of lying to us about inflation. And but my favorite is when she starts talking about housing and how she wants to eliminate red tape in order to get more houses built. This is the party of red tape. This is the administration of red tape. And suddenly, 5 minutes before an election, she wants to undo all the red tape so we can get more houses built.
EV stations, where are those after $8 billion? She's going to do that to housing? Good Lord, we're all being living in caves.
Right.
So I think, you guys have all said it, I think, one way or another. I think Trump, now, polls are not votes, let me say that. He is ahead, in the Real Clear Politics survey, he's ahead in all the swing states. This is new. He's brought momentum. We had political people on last night. Byron York was talking about how the momentum in the campaign has completely changed now. That doesn't mean he's going to win. It just means the momentum has changed. But this will be the last national event. She wasn't there for that, and that's, I think, a great loss to her. But Trump, it looks like Trump's to lose right now, Charlie. Trump's to lose.
I agree. I don't believe any of the polls at this point because I think they do a poor job of capturing where people really are, but you can absolutely see, if you just look at the campaigns, she is operating like she's desperate. Trump is operating, as you said in your opening, as he's operating like he's winning. And one reason that maybe he doesn't do every interview that he would have done 6 months ago is because he doesn't need to. He feels like it's going in the right direction. Don't anyone take it for granted.
No, absolutely not. And I don't either. And I agree with you. Polls are, I'm not going to say they're meaningless. But, Sandra, the other side of the coin is, in that Bret Baier interview, the vice president lost her cool. Her temperament went sideways. She almost had a temper tantrum. We had a U.S. senator on. I don't have to mention any names, but he said it looked like a jilted girlfriend. And I don't think...
Okay, well...
I understand, but I'm saying I don't think Brett was asking over-the-edge questions at all. I mean, he was just talking about
can I bring up one?
Economy.
Turn the page.
So I want you to...
Kills me.
Has losing temperament not a good thing in the last 2 weeks of the presidential race?
It happens to me on occasion, but I will judge her on her performance in office, as we all should as voters. And she said that yet again on a stage in Michigan during our hours this afternoon. It is time to turn the page. And Brett so awesomely challenged her on turn the page on what? You have been in office for 4 years. You are directly tied to the policies that people are upset and struggling with right now. You know what her answer was? No, it's turn the page from 10 years of Donald Trump running for office.
No, but Sandra, it's a key point. First of all, 6 of the 10 years were Democrats. That's point number one. Trump's was 4 years. So that's when. But that point, Steve Forbes, I'll leave it with you. Last word, 30 seconds. I don't think she wants to address the issues in a serious way. And I do think she's going to spend the next 2.5 weeks attacking Trump with vitriol. I think that's what you're going to get. And I'm going to say to you, I've seen this movie before. So have you, so have you, so have you. It doesn't work, especially in the last 2 weeks. They've thrown everything at Trump for 3-4 years now, and look where he is. So she's doing it again. What do you think?
Well, she doesn't want to discuss issues because she knows the people don't like those issues.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. So that's why you get all these salads. I feel sorry for the salad industry with what she's doing with the verbiage. But the bottom line is when people hear what they actually stand for, like getting rid of every modern convenience, raising taxes to a fare thee well, wrecking industries, no, they don't want that. So they have to hide it. And the only way they can do it is by attacking an individual because they can't win on policy.
Yeah, terrific stuff. Well said. Thank you, kids. I really
This was
appreciate
therapeutic.
it. Absolutely terrific.
Friday.
Sandra Smith, Steve Forbes, Charlie Hurt. You guys are going on the 5 in a few moments. Be sure to catch Sandra along with her co-host John Roberts on America Reports. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox News. But Sandra and Charlie are going to take over the 5. This was just a rehearsal, and I'm proud to be able to be part of it.